welcome to this week's episode of Pickles and Pasta.
With Steph and Jay.
Yeah. I like that first part, the Steph part. That's my favorite part of the show, the Steph part of the show. What's your favorite part? The Steph part.
Well, we need the Jay part too.
It's balance, right? That's how we
Mm-hmm.
balance. Yeah, that was pretty good teamwork. We had to run out a little bit earlier and we held the umbrella together. It sounds so adorable. But it's like putsy, rainy, annoying, icky out there. And I'm not a big umbrella person, but when you're walking next to somebody who has an umbrella, you can't be out of the umbrella because then you get poked in the head. And the umbrella's not the right size. You can't be in the umbrella, so you got to be in the umbrella, out of the umbrella. And
Yeah,
then
it's tricky.
Steph's trying to make sure that I'm okay, and I could see her struggling. And I was like, "Do you want me to hold it?" And she's like, "Well, if you hold it, then it's more balanced." And I was like, "Okay." So it was
Teamwork. It was teamwork.
it was definitely teamwork. It was just kind of, just yeah, it was kind of cute and getting big puddles all over the place. So yeah, it's just whatever. I don't know why I'm sharing that, but I'm just sharing it because it was cute and it was fun and we did it. So, but we did it. We did it. We just shipped something out that we've been organizing for lack of a better word, something we've been organizing for a very very long time, and we finally got it all put together, and it's now been sent off, and we're very very excited, and
Right.
hopefully we'll tell you about it at some point in the next 3 or 4 years. But for
Yes.
now, we checked something off, so it's a
Yeah.
good feeling.
Yeah. It's nice. I feel like we're checking a few things off. So that's feeling good. I feel like things have coming off my shoulders.
Yeah, I think, with everybody, remember we had that January that everybody was talking about. It was like the longest January in the history of Januaries. And February seemed to kind of just pop in after eventually January decided to leave.
Hmm.
And I think it has been. I think a lot of people I've been talking to kind of saying similar things like, not that necessarily everything is great or everything is amazing or whatever, but people start to feeling a little bit more like they're getting things done, like it's a little bit easier to accomplish things. So, even with all the craziness in the world and the astrology and all the other stuff that you hear, just throwing you a bone there, babe.
Oh my
Um,
God. You said the word
I
astrology.
could
I
say it.
cannot
I don't have
even.
to read it. I could say it. I could say words that I don't actually
I know.
practice.
I'm just
Hey, we
surprised
said
the
kale
word
earlier.
came out of your mouth.
No, I know, but we said kale earlier in the warm up. So,
Yes.
kale chip. Like, okay. So, I could say things without doing things. So anyway, but yeah, I know just, obviously there's a lot going on, but I still think more and more people I talk to, like someone I spoke to earlier, he did this very cool AI thing that he got in for a deadline and stuff like, so just, it's interesting. I just think it's cool. And yeah, it's just good stuff. So, as you guys know, we kind of, a lot of things come up and things we talk about or things people talk to us about. And we kind of try to digest those and see how we can kind of share our insights, around that. And, if you've been listening, even for a few episodes, you know that we both have like, definitely more than one thing going on at a time. I mean, it's pretty kind of the way we both are. And we're thinking about like there's things we're working on, things that are in the beginning, things that are coming to an end, just different sort of things. And kind of the topic we were thinking about is, what does it look like when you soft launch something new, but you still have other projects that are not ready to kind of get out into the universe yet, and you're still kind of working on them. And I think it's interesting because, certainly I think anybody I know in the creative space, everybody, every producer, director, writer, actor, musician, whatever, they've all got more than one thing cooking. Like even the most successful of successful, they have, they're gonna, musicians going on tour, but they're also thinking about their next album, and then there's always something. There's always like multiple things going on, and when you launch something, you kind of got to be all in, right? Like you got to be like, okay, I got to get this out, I got to go, I got to really get it done, I got to be focused, I got to do all that stuff. But you still have things that are kind of playing in your head that you're still working on, that you've been designing or writing out. And I think it's interesting because on the one hand, you're all in, on the other hand, you're not really all in. And I think it's interesting to how to balance that. I mean, I think in anything, but certainly like in our space, like it's an interesting thing. I don't know. What do you think about? Like, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, I hear that, and I have a lot of those things actually happening right now. We just kind of soft launched into the new Have Some Fun Today offerings. We're transition the vibe and the feeling of the brand in a way from manufactured products to more artisan offerings,
Right.
such as the bags that I'm painting and the paintings that I'm created now for Have Some Fun Today.
Right.
And that is kind of a soft launch because the brand has been around for 12 years. And it's not like I need to reintroduce the brand. And for some reason, I kind of just wanted to softly move into that. I didn't want this big, huge buildup of
Right.
now we're completely different, So the soft launch just felt more natural of a progression for me.
Right.
And at the same time, I have several other projects that I am close to launching as well in a soft way. I mean, I don't know why exactly I'm kind of going about this in a softer way. I think it's just it feels more peaceful and more calm, and it's just how I'm feeling right now. And
Hmm.
I feel like I can do that. I don't need to have some big dramatic announcement for anything right now, other than like my art show, which is ending soon.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, is it partially because it isn't like a whole new thing? It's like an evolution or a slight variation, or it's not a pivot, right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's not a whole new thing. It's The brand has gone through different cycles. Every company does, every brand does. I mean, you look
yeah,
at even, Ralph Lauren or Chanel or Zara, like what they did before they've evolved, they've changed, they modify, whatever. And so now we've added something, we've done something different. Like you said, it's more artisan, it's more unique, one of a kind pieces. There's still other products, right? We still have
yeah.
other
Mhm.
really beautiful products that you design, that we manufacture, that we have inventory, that and we will probably again do certain things here and there. We will do new variations of some of the hats or the clothing, little things here and there that we'll do as the right timing and the right thing fits. But it is different. I mean, the site is
Mhm.
also same thing. Like we've up made some updates to the site. We've cleaned
Mhm.
up some things on the site, but it's like a whole new site. It's not like it's a totally different site. Doesn't look anything like it did before. It's just a little bit different and a little variety, a little change. So, do you think that might be part of why you're not making a lot of noise, or do you think it's just because this feels more natural as a growth in a way? It's really growth, I think. I don't think to me it feels like growth.
Yeah, I think it's growth but I think it's coming from me as where I am in my life right now. Like I feel very grounded right now. And it's the past couple of years have not felt grounded. I've been working on feeling grounded as a person, and the fact that I'm an artist and a designer, I am, everything is intertwined with who I am. And if I am feeling more calm and more grounded and I don't need to shout, I can talk softly. And that's kind of, I think that's showing up in the things I'm doing where I don't need to shout it.
Because look, you do have these other things that are percolating. You do have these other things that you're working on,
Hmm.
stuff we're doing together. I mean, I think it's obviously great that we're able to have different people on the team working on different things, which is really great. I think that's helpful. I mean, that might be part of it too. That it's not like, well, I've got to do everything. Like
Yeah.
we have
Right.
we have our producer who will remain nameless working on certain things. We have people that are working on the website. We have people that are working on designs. We're just different things. And that makes it sound like we have like 185,000 people here, but we have we've worked hard at nurturing relationships and getting some really great people on board, and everybody kind of working together to do different things. So I don't know. That might be part of it too. That you don't feel as, I mean, not that you were alone. I mean, obviously, I'm here, and we obviously have people that help us throughout the journey. But it almost feels like now you work on something. You're like, oh, I'm going to give this, to Kavya. I'm going to, Vanessa's going to work on this, or I'm going to call so and so whose name I can't mention. I'm going to call the other, other person, Vaughn. I can say Vaughn's name. So, it's kind of like, I don't know. Do you think that's part of it too, or do you think it's just more the evolution of how you feel in the grounded space?
I think it's probably a combination of all those things. Like I do feel more support, and I
Because you
have
worked hard at that, right? You worked hard at developing those relationships. Like you put in a lot of work to get here.
yes. I mean, I put a lot of work just to get to this place in my life,
Yeah.
let alone with relationships with people I work with. I think there just has been so much work that has gone into everything, not just the art, but have some fun today and being open to other ideas and other projects like the children's book, like this new interior design, solutions
Right.
product that we're developing. There's a lot of different things that are in the works, but it's like calm. It's taken a while to get this have some fun today to become where it is now. A lot of sorting through identity issues and
Mm.
how does this feel? How are we going to do it all? And, with all that work that has already been done over the past 2 years, now I can be more calm about it.
Yeah.
Basically, it's like the pressure's off, and now I can just organically, calmly make these paintings. And then as I make them, as they sell, I put them up. There's no like urgency now. It feels more sustainable. And that's what I was going for. I was going for feeling like I can sustain this without burning out.
Right. Yeah. It's an interesting observation. I mean, look, I'm proud of you. I think it's incredible, how much you're doing here. But yeah, it's a different energy. I can feel it when you're doing it. I can feel it when we're back in the studio and you're creating stuff. I can feel the energy is different as opposed to before when we were designing stuff and then we had to get this, we had to get a sample, we had to get it approved, and it was coming, and then okay, now we're going to have to pay a really big bill, and we've got to make sure we move money for there's a lot of different things, and you've I don't know. This has been like obviously creating art is something that gives you a lot of joy and a lot of energy, and it took time to figure out how do we incorporate. I mean, it's all well and good that we talked about this years ago, and I was like, I really think we should incorporate the art into the brand. And at the time, it was hard to comprehend what that would mean, right? Like it was just
Yeah.
very, but little by little, without it being rushed, without it being like we got to do this tomorrow. Obviously, it was playing in your head as you were doing stuff, and then it came to you, and okay, now we come up with an execution plan, like, and it's just. Yeah, maybe that's what it is, right? For you, I mean, that you found a way to stay calm and focused, and then your creative juices were flowing more freely, and so now you can launch something with a lot. I mean, look, I've heard you speak to people about it. You're very passionate about it. It's not like you're being like, we did a couple things website. No, you're very passionate about it, just as much as you've been on anything else that you've done, anything else that you've launched, which is great. And I think people feel that energy. Look, the second we did it, we sold one piece of art like immediately, right? Like
Yeah.
the energy is there, the design is beautiful, that sort of stuff. But maybe because you're in that calmer place, that energy started to make things line up a little bit better. That could be part of it too.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a little bit about quality of life. And been having a lot of those conversations with friends, with you, with my daughters, with my mother, my sisters. There's something that I was really interested in as you know, in the past couple of years, I've just been thinking about it. How do I want to live? I've been hustling and working so hard for so long, a lot by myself until, you came into the picture. And it's hard to run a business by yourself. You wear like 10
Sure.
hats.
Yeah.
And so this just feels like sustainable. And it feels like something I believe in integration in life. So I want to feel integrated. And I've just come to the realization over the past couple of years that at the very core, I'm an artist. So to live that way and to produce art that comes from your heart and your soul, that needs to come from a place where you feel good. And so I'm kind of through the weeds to an extent. I mean, obviously there's always going to be things you have to deal with when you have businesses, but I feel like this is a really good place for me to kind of move from now.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think you're right, and I think you're smart. I think it's because I can feel it, right? Like we worked at getting this launch, at getting this, updating the website, making sure we had the pictures right, making sure the design was right. Kind of everybody on the team really helped. You had some ideas, we talked about it, and we kind of designed, it's nice. I mean, I think it's really nice. Of course, with everything, as the owners of the creator, we can always see, oh, if this one little thing and that little thing. But honestly, I think it came out really nicely. I think it looks good. I think now we have to continue to kind of market and do all the other stuff that we have to do. But I think we're in that good place. But I know even when we were working on that, and it was, obviously when you get close to launch stuff, it's a little more tense. It's a little more, a little more stuff. Last minute things come up, one thing, whatever. But you were still thinking about the other stuff. It didn't like slow you down from the other stuff. It wasn't like the launch was so overwhelming. And I think things are growing in a way that it's kind of a little bit smoother. So,
Yeah.
now, okay, this part is done, the getting, the finalizing what's going to be on the site, what's not going to be on the site, move it, change it, whatever. Little tweaks here and there, no problem. And while you were doing that, you were still able to create new pieces for the new division that we're starting.
Hmm.
We did a great job on the presentation stuff with Kavya, fantastic. Yeah, I think that's kind of, maybe that's the solution. Maybe that's the answer. Like maybe that is the answer of like making sure that you're calm and clear on what the two, three, four, 10 things you're going to work on. If you have that clarity, the balancing is a little bit easier. It kind of feels like you're juggling, but you're standing on solid ground as opposed to like, juggling on a seesaw, or which is what it
Yeah.
felt like before sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I didn't really know how things were going to go 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it's taken time, and being calm and having a great team. The Effluence team has been amazing, everyone. And being able to compartmentalize when you're working on several projects, and they're all kind of going at different rates, and one's soft launching and the others haven't launched yet. But I think it's important to keep the buckets organized and kind of know where you are in the process of all of them, and to be able to actively, kind of have a general timeline and know what you have to do, and just kind of keep on top of it without getting overwhelmed. And that's something you have to learn how to do and cultivate from experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think that maybe that's part of what was lacking, 5 years ago or 6 years ago, whatever. Like that was maybe a little lacking. Like you had all these things going on, but there was this uncertainty, there was the lack of clarity, there was just different things, and it took time. It took time to kind of like, okay, clean that up. That's not healthy for us. Like that's not benefiting you. Like it's we were told it's a good thing to do, but it's not working. So we got to get rid of that. We got to change
Yeah.
that. We got to try this new thing that we don't know anything about. Like we don't know what this is, but we have to try it because it seems like it could help us. So yeah, I think it's good. I think it's really solid.
Yeah, and the other thing that I would say for anybody out there who's dealing with this kind of stuff, I think you really have to trust your own gut. I remember so many things over the past, because I've had Have Some Fun Day for 12 years. And there were a lot of times when people who I gave more credit to telling me I should do this or that, and not having as much experience as maybe I perceived they did, I then did those things. And then I got myself into situations that is hard to get yourself out of, like in terms of like different styles that a buyer told me I should do, and I felt pressured, or a factory that promised MOQs at a certain level. And then when you're about to go into production, they were like, oh, no, wait, we need 500 more to
Right.
make this. And, I just think it's important not to be pressured by people who don't actually have skin in the game, and to follow your own gut.
Yeah, I remember, we've hired different people over the years, and you know, you're so sweet, and you're just a very sweet, kind person, and you don't really like confrontation per se. You don't like to do returns. You don't like to do something. You don't have to cancel an order. Like you just don't like. No, but
But I
go
did one today.
right, but go back 4 years. Go back 3, 4 years of like, I think we should just cancel that and buy this. You're like, oh no, no, it's okay. Well, we're not going to cancel that. I'm like, no, but I think that's better if we do that. And you're like, no, no, no. You felt really uncomfortable. Like it was just really like I was asking you to like do something like eat castor oil or some stupid shit like that, whatever. So it's like you really just were against it. And it happened, I think, with people that we hired, right? Because they did something and you're like, it doesn't feel right. And I was like, what do you think? You're like, it's fine. I was like, no, fine's not. No, I need you to tell me you really love this. And you're like, no, no, it's fine, it's fine. And we didn't argue about it, but I was like, I had a feeling. I knew you didn't, and it took time for it to happen once, twice, and three times for me to be like, if you don't like it, I'm not letting. Okay, now I'm not letting you do that. I know what you're doing, and then you gave it to me, and you're like, you're right. I don't like it. Like I know, but I'm doing. And like okay, and that took time, right? It took time for you to be like, okay, I'm gonna. And like you just said, the reason I'm saying this, like you got to go with your gut. You are going with your gut now. You are 100% going with your gut. It's not that you don't listen. It's not like if you say, hey, I want to do this, and me or somebody else says, I'm not so sure. I don't think that's going to work. You listen. It's not like you don't listen, but you're trusting your gut more, which I think
Well,
is amazing.
yes, but I'm also doing the stuff. It's usually when I hand something off to somebody else that I have issues and I don't know how to communicate when someone else is designing an ad or something, or that's kind of where I get I get into tricky spaces when because I'm the kind of creative that makes stuff. I'm an artist. So having someone else make visual things for me is very tricky for me. So in
Well, but I
these
think
cases,
that's
I'm
yeah,
actually painting everything and I'm making everything. And so that's why it's working out because it's my vision.
sure, that's fair. But I think even with other stuff that you can't do, you've learned or you found your own rhythm to like when to accept when someone says something, even though that may not have been your initial instinct. But you understand, like, but my gut says it's the right thing. It maybe wasn't the way I would have done it, but the way they present it to me, it works. And my gut says it's good. My gut says that this is good. Again, it's back to that you're still sticking to your gut. It's even
Yeah.
even when
I
someone else
mean,
does stuff.
yeah. I mean, it's experience. I lacked experience with certain types of things
Yeah,
in business and with what I was
yeah,
dealing with. You know,
yeah,
now
yeah.
I
That's
have
right.
more experience, so now I feel more confident. And also, like, I have just made this decision that I want to live a certain way now. So I will not live in that way anymore.
Yeah,
I'm done with that. You
yeah.
know, I'm really happy to move forward as slowly or as fast as it comes.
Certainly we have a lot of balls in the air and a lot of things we're working on. Some things taking longer than others. Some things I really want to do this other thing, but I can't do that because this thing has to happen first. But it is tricky. It is tricky to kind of like I got to get this thing out, but I still have these other things. And how do I clear my mind to be available for that? How do I work with the people on the team that are working on this part, and how to work with people on the team that are working on that part? And do they connect or do they not connect? How do you kind of balance and move those things forward? I mean, look, it's a challenge of being in business. Like, I'm not saying this is a complaint at all. I'm not complaining whatsoever. That's not it. It's a privilege really to have that. I mean, it's a real privilege to be able to have, you know, good people around that you can trust, that are going to push back at times, but are going to listen and do what has to be done. Obviously you don't want to have pushback all the time, and you don't want people that are just being like, yes, whatever you say. Like that doesn't, neither one of those things are helpful.
Right.
Um, but I think when you work on those things, and that's the tricky part of like, you want everything to happen tomorrow, right? Like you want everything to be perfect, great, aligned tomorrow, but that's just not the reality of the universe. So you have to kind of look at that like, okay, this thing is like closer to the finish line. And even though maybe that's not the order I want it to go in, okay, well, that's the order we're going in now. Like, we're going to have to make that adjustment. We're going to get that thing going. We're going to get that out the door. We're going to then do the steps that come with what that means. Now we're getting out the door. Okay, what do we do there? We have to be prepared for that, of course, as opposed to being like, well, I really wanted this thing to happen first. Like, things we were working on, third quarter, fourth quarter last year, we really were like, okay, well, this is happening before the end of the year. And some of those things haven't happened. And they haven't happened because it wasn't right. Something wasn't right. And maybe that was the way it was supposed to be. Like, it wasn't supposed to. Maybe if it would have been done and gone out the door then, maybe that wouldn't have helped. So maybe there's a reason that's beyond us to understand. We may not like it. I know certainly, any of us that were working on something and we really were hoping for this date or that date and we don't hit it, of course there's frustration. But I think when we look back on it, whenever these things line up, there's a reason I think is beyond what we're able to understand right now, of like why this
Yeah.
is happening now and why that's happening then. And yeah, I mean, it's figuring out that way how to have the level of excitement and but also be calm enough to be like, okay, but let's not get too excited, like be happy, be excited, be grateful, but don't be like, okay, there's still things to do. So it's an interesting balance. I think it's a very interesting balance.
I mean, like for you, like I'm now turning focus to you and the things that Effluence is working on and Village, you know, is working on. And I think it's about knowing what's in your bucket and, you know, understanding where those buckets are and being able to now focus on the things that you want to move forward. And, you know, in the past few years, you were very focused on a lot of things to help me. And that was amazing. But now I think it's time for you to really refocus your energy on the things that are going to move your projects forward. And I'm ready to pitch in, you know, where I can help that happen.
I appreciate I know that I appreciate that. And I appreciate you saying that in front of our massive billion people audience. But yes, it's just not going to change the fact that I'm obviously going to do all the stuff that I do, and it's not going to change that we're partners across the board. So obviously, there's things that are just going to fall into my lap that I'm not painting, luckily for everybody, but the other stuff I still have to be relevant. And I do it lovingly and willingly, and because I believe in you and I believe in the brand and I believe in what we're doing. But yes, there's adjustments to be made, and I think part of us doing all this is kind of we're finding the balance not just within what your different brands are and what our different brands are, but how they actually do tie together. Like how there's a reason of the connectivity of all of it. There's something about what you do that adds value to what we do. There's something about what we do that adds value to what you do. And it all does tie together, and the connectivity is greater and greater. And listen, to be honest, maybe this podcast happened when, we didn't even know, right? Like, I mean, we're looking at some updates that we're thinking about and working on. And we started it. We're like, listen, we have to just start. Like, we have to just start. It took us months, like months, for when we said, okay, we're going to sign up. We're going to use this platform. We're going to go. It took us months till we did our first episode. It took us a long time to come up with a name. And then our producer, shall remain nameless, came up with an amazing logo. And then it's do the design and a lot of work that had to, it's not like you snap your fingers and you have a podcast, right? And especially, at the time, we didn't have a fully operational, podcast production service. We're launching that because now we've learned how to do this, and we have now people that have come to us that want to be part of the team and all that stuff. So it's great, and we'll be able to do that. That wasn't in our thinking, like at first, but us working on this together, which we've had the ups and downs of like coming up with the ideas, coming up with this and the timing and when do we do it. Like, it's not smooth sailing every time, right? Like, but we've worked on that. This is a little unique, right? Because this isn't have some fun today, and it's not Effluence. It's something different. It's not the Effluence podcast, with Steph and Jay. It's Pickles and Pasta, our own different thing. And maybe that's part of it. I mean, maybe that is another lesson to learn for couples or partners that are doing stuff. It's not just helping with the other person's business. It's what are you doing together? And maybe that in and of itself does help the other businesses because the connectivity just is stronger. The layers are stronger. There's more, it's more close knit. It's much more like this. And I don't know, maybe that's part of what kind of has helped us navigate these things, the stability, the balance. I don't know, maybe.
Well, it's also enabled us to kind of take a step out of, being in a relationship and looking at what we're doing together as people in a business sense. Like this is a this is a project. We're actually working on a project that is us together talking about, the things that affect us as creatives and as a
Yeah.
couple. It's different because it helps us like kind of look at it from a different lens.
Right.
And it helps us not really analyze, but we're talking through things that we don't talk through necessarily in everyday life.
Right. Right.
And here we're just doing it in front of the public.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Like it's inspired by our everyday life. It's inspired by what we go through during the course of the week, but we talk about it here. We don't have this conversation ourselves. We have this conversation with our audience and with our fans, and which is funny, but we don't have this conversation. Our conversations are different, obviously. So it is interesting. I think it's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah. So I don't know. Anything else to add on? Did I kind of cover everything?
I think so. Yeah. You know,
Okay, I'm just making sure, because sometimes it's like, oh,
if I did, I would chime in,
I
obviously.
know, I know, I know, I know. Sometimes it's sometimes I think times after it's like, oh, I forgot to mention that thing, or I forgot to whatever. But no, I think we're finding a good groove. So those of you who are tuning in towards the later part of where our journey here, I hope you're enjoying it. Feel free to go back to earlier episodes and you can laugh at us a little bit as we were trying to figure things out. Um, yeah, cool. Let me see, what time is it? Oh, da, 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 da. It's rapid fire time. New one. I just came out of nowhere.
I have no words.
I I think you can't rehearse this shit. Like you just can't. It just kind of comes when it comes. It's part of who I
I
am.
find it
Maybe
interesting at what different styles we have. You like to do this whole song and dance thing, and I'm just
you're like, okay, are you done? You're like, okay, you good? Can we go now? You're like, ready? Yeah,
like, get down to business. Let's
yeah.
just do it.
Yeah. It's
It's
well,
all
you're
good.
like, oh, you're always ready. Like you're always ready. Like when we went to go out before, you had your adorable hat on and your coat, and you were
I feel like
everything.
I look like Paddington Bear.
Oh, I didn't think of that. Good
That's
one.
what I felt like.
Well, you looked like a beautiful Paddington bear because it was a lot prettier and not as hairy on the face. But you looked adorable. Like you just looked so cute in that hat, and the whole thing was just really adorable. And
It's raining here and it's disgusting, and I didn't want to get my hair wet, so I had to rain.
yeah, it's sure, babe. They knew that without you saying a word. But you looked adorable, and it's like a treat for me, like to just be able to see that live in person. It's a
Well, I always think it's so funny because, like, when you're here in New York and it's crappy weather, like, or just going out running errands, like, you're not getting all dolled up. I have like my high tops on and my crazy rain hat and my sister's coat from high school that I took from my mom's closet. I like wearing old stuff every now and then that seems to be current. So I looked hysterical in a
no,
way.
you didn't look hysterical. You looked really cute. It was really cute. You really did.
It's real life.
It's real life. And you know what? Shit, I was gonna take a picture and I didn't. Damn it. I didn't take a picture. I was so gonna take a picture. And when you did it and I started laughing, remember I
Yeah, you thought it
started
was really
laughing like
funny.
hysterically. Yeah. So but yeah, damn it. Gotta get better
It
at this.
was so cute that he was laughing hysterically when he saw me. I
That is so misrepresenting what was happening. I was laughing because you know how sometimes I just have my laughing fits.
know.
I can't control myself. And I had just put something in my mouth and I was like, I'm going to spit this out, which made me laugh more because I was imagining me spitting out on you, like me going to be like, oh my God, you're so adorable. Like, it's not, that wouldn't have gone over very well. So, anyway, you're putting that off to the side. Next time you put that outfit on, pictures shall be taken.
I don't think I'll be putting that outfit on.
I'm praying for it. Anyway, so I'm going to run into the rapid fire questions. You ready?
Yep.
Yes, ready? Okay, sorry.
Yes, I'm ready.
Um,
I'm always ready.
yes, you're always ready. Sorry, I forgot. Good points. Okay. First question. Do you jump in to fix things right away, or do you assess, plan, and attack?
Well, you know that I like to jump into things right away, but I'm trying, and I think I'm getting a little bit better of assessing, but it's difficult for me. I'm very impulsive.
Your tendency is to like, yeah,
I'm quick.
yeah. I know. When we've had
Quick
the
decision
conversation,
maker.
we've
I'm like, that's it.
yeah. It's kind of like the towels. Like I haven't finished using the towel, and I turn around and Steph has folded the towel because God forbid a towel should not be folded in her presence. So
That
yeah,
is
I
true.
had a feeling that was your
A
answer. But
messy
yeah,
towel on the counter.
no,
No.
no, it's not going to
I
happen.
do that at my mother's house too.
I know it's incontrollable. Okay, are you better at starting things or finishing them?
I think I'm very good at starting things, but like as I'm talking here, I'm looking at all my sticky notes. So I will eventually finish things. I'm probably faster than most people do because a lot of people talk a big game and then never do it. I probably finish three-quarters of the things that I start.
So better at starting.
Better at starting. Hmm.
Okay, I mean, yeah. When you complete a big project, do you take a break or jump right into the next thing?
I think I take a micro break, because I've now just finished some big things and I feel really good about it, but I'm now have time to jump into the things that aren't finished.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Okay. So your turn. Jay, do you jump in to fix things right away or do you assess, plan, and attack?
So I know it's rapid fire and it's supposed to be one or the other, but it does depend. General answer is that I assess, plan, and attack.
Mm-hmm.
But in an emergency situation where there's no time, I'm very quick to just be like, okay, this I have to save this. I have to do this. This is going to break. I'll jump there as best I can. I'm not going to get into this not going to get into this too much. But not too long ago when I was kind of not feeling well for a couple of days, and you were very kind and really, really very kind and was taking care of me, and you were obviously exhausted, and you and I'm laying down like because I really just had to lay down like I had to lay down, and you crashed your leg into the side of the bed like the bed that we have like there's a headboard and there's like a frame, and you have walked that turn. I'm not exaggerating. You had to have walked that turn 1,000 times. It's not
Yeah.
because every day you walk backward, backward, and you haven't ever walked into it, and you went into it like a fucking Mack truck, and you like screamed, and you like almost fell over, and I literally jumped out of bed. Like I jumped almost out of bed, like I couldn't not, and you were like lay down, like I'm fine, like you were not fine, but that's kind of like in that situation, I
Yeah.
could not.
Yeah.
Like I wasn't
That
like,
was wild.
let me assess how she's doing. Let me see if she's actually dying or if she's just in a little bit of pain. And then the situation calmed itself, and I went back to where I belong, which was
I
laying
have
there.
a huge scar on my leg, though. I'll tell you
But it's very beautiful.
that. Okay. Are you better at starting things or finishing them?
Okay, so my producer wants me to say starting things, and there's validity to that. I will say that, but I do finish things. I don't know that I'm better at one or the other. I definitely have. Let me just clarify. I do have a lot of ideas, and I do have a lot of things in my head that I like would love to do this or would love to do that. But actually getting into like, okay, we're going to do this, I'm going to do this, or we are going to do this. I'm always very clear on what the end has to be. So I don't start if I don't truly know I can finish it. Now it might take changes and lefts and rights and turns and upside, but I do know we're going to get there. And so sometimes it takes longer than I would like, for sure. And there's a lot more moving parts. It's a lot kind of like you when you have a vision for something and someone can't create it for you the way you do. It's a little bit like that. For me, it's very clear. Like I have to do this and this, and not everybody can kind of relate to that. It's not that most of the people that work for us are smarter than I am. It's not a smart or a not smart thing. It's a clarity of vision thing. And again, as I think I'm decent, if not above average, at explaining things, but it doesn't necessarily mean everybody always understands it. So For his sake, I'm going to say start, but I'd say it's more balanced. In my
Okay.
opinion.
When you complete a big project, do you take a break or jump right to the next thing?
I jump right to the next thing because I'm probably already started the next thing. And I don't think that's the smartest thing for me, quite frankly. And I'm working on that. Like I'm legitimately looking at my calendar. I mean, I'm always looking at my calendar, but I'm legitimately looking at, all right, put it in your pants. Uh, I, I'm legitimately like really looking at my calendar. Okay, I've got to find like a 2 day window somewhere where I can really just like legitimately catch up on the things that I keep trying to catch up on because this happens or that whatever. And it's I don't know that I'm going to get there, but really like I'm aggressively sounds so weird. I'm aggressively looking at a way to relax, but I'm
I
legitimately
would
looking.
like to help you find that those 2 days. I really would.
It's easier said than done though. I mean that's the thing is like it's just it's I realize I have to do it. I could tell you that I'm better at it than I used to be. Like when I had when I had JCS, I was really bad at it. Like I was really bad at it, and I realized because it affected the team. I didn't realize it at the time because I was just so I was so I was really 24/7. Like it was really 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 a lot of time, and there just was another thing to do and another thing to do, and the team couldn't keep up with that. And I feel bad for some of them, not for all of them, but I feel bad for some because it was just too much. I was putting a little too much. So I'm definitely better at that, and I'm better at understanding. Okay, it's fine for me to keep going, but it doesn't mean everybody has to grind like I have to grind. I don't, I've learned a little bit better at that just for dealing with people in different situations and stuff like that. But
Like me
yeah,
going to bed at 8 o'clock the other night. I
I
mean,
couldn't even understand what language you were speaking. Like, I was like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "Oh, you mean because you're going to read?" No, I'm going to sleep. It's 8 o'clock at night. It's dinner time. I'm like, it's dinner time. Like, what are you do? What are you talking about?
I made it to 8:30, I think, last night, or maybe nine. I don't know.
Yeah, but my concern was that you were going to get up at 4, which you didn't. Luckily,
Yeah, I got up 5:30.
okay. Well, hopefully, you'll find balance soon. But yeah, I feel you. But yeah, that's that. That's what I got.
All right. Well, good talk.
We should do this more often. We should.
Maybe
Yeah,
next week.
I think it's a great idea. I think it's a date. It's a date. All right.
Yep.
All right, everybody. Well, thanks for joining us. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for listening, watching, however you do this. We really appreciate your support. And again, if there's any questions you have, please feel free to reach out. Happy to help any way we can. And we'll see you soon. Bye.
Fun today.
Yes, have some fun today.